how to be that girl, lucky girl syndrome, princess treatment, manifestation, if he wanted to, he would. Are we really promoting good and healthy attitudes to dating and confidence, or are we just promoting an attitude that lacks humility? There was a big ass bee. What the fuck? Anyways, guys, today we are back and I am so excited. I haven't made a video in I don't even know how long. Okay, it's been months. It's been months. I had to lock in. Okay, school was beating my ass. Fucking IB diploma program. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But I'm back. Okay, and that's what's important. I'm so happy because I have so many ideas, and this is the first one. Today, we're going to be talking about social media and the tendency it has to raise a generation that is not humble at all, arrogant, entitled, and delusional. Now, I'm not doing this to attack anyone. In fact, this is just a reality check because you know what? I needed that reality check as well. I was on social media too much and it was making me delusional. It was making me believe all these things. Guys, some of y'all need a reality check. And I'm here to give you that reality check, okay? Because God knows I needed one. And it looks like people still need a reality check as well. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about sort of two parts. One part, we're going to be talking about the dating world, how manifestation and online dating gurus try to convince younger generations that manifestation and certain delusional tips are going to help them get the person that they want and get them the relationship that they want. And then second of all, we're going to be talking about general advice on confidence that is spread online, which really isn't really confidence, and it's more about being arrogant. It's more about arrogance. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the problems. You know, we're going to look at it with nuance, of course, because that's always important. But I want to explain to you exactly why this is such a big problem and how we're raising a generation that's delusional, arrogant, and entitled. Okay, guys. Number one, the online dating advice world. First of all, I deleted social media like about a month ago, so I might not be up to date on all the new terms and stuff that has come up on TikTok. So I might be, a little behind, but I still remember from my TikTok days the stuff I would see online. Okay, and the other day when I was doing research on TikTok, but looking at what kind of videos there are nowadays, what kind of online dating advice there is, and it's still the same. People are still spreading some bullshit, I can't lie. One thing I saw, which is a very common theme, is that there's these people, these accounts that are dedicated to relationships and how to have successful romantic relationships, how to become a person that has good relationships, and how just general dating advice and how to get into relationships, what to do in relationships, how your attitude should be towards other people that you're in a relationship with. And there's a lot of sort of different standards, expectations that people push out on social media. A lot of the things that I see are things like princess treatment. If he wanted to, he would. Red flags and all these like different types of standards. Okay, first, before we go into what all these things mean, like if he wanted to, if he wanted to, he would, princess treatment, all that, all those things. First, I want to put out a disclaimer. I think that there's nothing wrong with having certain standards for a relationship, period. Of course you should have standards for a relationship. It's not the 1800s anymore where we have to marry people to survive. Like now we can actually choose who we want to marry, and we can choose good people, and you should choose a good person. Because at the end of the day, you want to be in a relationship with someone that respects you, that meets your standards, but is also open to hearing what expectations and standards you have for a relationship. However, some of y'all are onto some crazy shit, okay? Some of y'all are like, you want this person. Some of y'all want people to be mind readers, apparently. Okay, and we're gonna get into this. First of all, if he wanted to, he would. This is a phrase I saw thrown around everywhere. And I hear my friends use it every single day, okay? If he wanted to, he would. Let me explain. It's basically this idea that if you have a crush on someone and you think that they also have feelings for you, if you have feelings for someone and you think that they might also have feelings for you, and let's say it's like a sort of situationship, so it's not a relationship, but it's not a friendship either, you know, you think there's something going on. This idea applies to situationships and relationships. So the idea is that your partner will do things that you think are romantic or things that you appreciate in a relationship if they want to. So, for example, if he wants to text me, then he will text me. Or if he wants to buy me flowers, then he will buy me flowers. Or if he wants to buy me a gift for Valentine's Day, then he will buy me a gift for Valentine's Day. But he didn't, so obviously he doesn't want to. Okay. I can see where all y'all are coming from. Because the idea is that, well, if I like someone, I would do that. Is that true, though? Is that true? Like, really think about it. You like someone, and you're like, okay, I should text them. I want to text them, but I won't. I'm too scared. I'm too scared. How do you know that they're not thinking the exact same thing? Or, I want to buy them a gift, but I don't know. I feel like maybe that's corny, or like maybe they won't like the gift, blah, 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 blah. So I won't buy them a gift. So you do want to buy them a gift. You do want to text them, but you won't do it. So how do you know that the other person is not thinking the exact same thing? This is a whole double standards thing. You think that because you have this idea that someone should do things if they want to, and that they will do things if they want to for you, that's gonna happen. I hate to break it to y'all, but sometimes it is the case that someone is too scared. I can't tell you how many times I've liked someone, like, obsessed over them, and I have not said a word to them, okay? Like, I have not said a word. That's the thing. That's the reality of a lot of situations. Guys, our generation, skyrocketing rates of social anxiety, okay? And you really think if he wanted to, he would? Maybe he wants to, but he's too damn scared. And that's not the only problem with that. When it comes to relationships especially, it's a whole different story. When it comes to relationships, you're already established in a relationship with this person. And you say, well, if he wanted to buy me this perfume that I really like, then he would. If he wanted to buy me flowers, then he would buy me flowers. Okay. Let's really think about this. How is somebody supposed to know that you want these things, that you appreciate these things, if you don't communicate it? If you don't say it? Okay? Or for example, if you have certain expectations, like, if I'm upset, I want you to talk to me. I've had this example with a friend where the person that I liked didn't text them when they were upset. And my friend was like, well, if they wanted to text me, then they should have. And they should have seen that I was upset and they should have texted me. Because I would do the same thing for them. Okay. So your expectation, what you want from someone, is that they text you when you're upset. But you haven't said that to them. You haven't said, when I'm upset, I want people to talk to me and figure out what's wrong. You haven't said that to them. So how on earth are they supposed to know that? Just because you think I would do that for another person, that doesn't mean that because they haven't done that for you, that means that they would never do that. They just don't know that that's what you want. Maybe they assume that you don't want to be talked to when you're upset because they don't want to risk it. They're scared of upsetting you even more. You have to communicate these things. You have to say what you want from someone. If you don't do that, you're never going to be happy. I'm sorry, because you're never going to be happy. Because, let me tell you something, okay? Nobody on this earth is a mind reader, as far as we know. Nobody is a mind reader. And that means when you get into a relationship, they're not going to know. They're not going to know everything about you. They have to learn these things. And when you start to become upset with the fact that he didn't do this thing, so obviously he didn't want to. That's not true! That's not true! It's not true! They want to, but they just don't know that that's what you want them to do. So they don't. You picking up what I'm putting down, okay? Why are you getting upset that Someone can't read your mind. You're asking them to do an impossible thing. I'm sorry. If you're getting upset over that, you really have to swallow your pride, okay? And you have to be like, I have to communicate this. I have to say that I feel that I want this thing when I'm upset. I want people to talk to me when I'm upset. I want you to buy me flowers on my birthday because I like that. I like gifts. I like this. You have to say these things. Because I'm sorry, nobody's gonna be able to read your mind. They might be able to read your mind if later on in the relationship, when you've already communicated that you like all these things. Now let's use more broad examples, okay? Love languages. Everybody knows love language. You know, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, gift giving, physical touch, all that stuff. If you like gifts, for example, I love giving gifts. I love getting gifts, for example. Me, okay? I love that. You cannot get upset when someone doesn't reach the standards of that love language if you haven't said anything to them. If you haven't said anything, it's not their problem. It's your problem. If you haven't said anything about what you prefer in a relationship, you cannot blame that on the other person. You cannot. Of course, this does not apply to basic levels of respect. Like, I want them to be nice to me. Okay, that's not like something you have to explicitly say. I'm talking about like other things that people expect in relationships. Because every relationship is different. Some people like acts of service. Some people like quality time. Some people like gifts giving. You know, you have to establish these things. Those are things you have to establish. You can't expect people to already know what you want out of a relationship. That's my problem with that. Okay, number 2. Guys, I'm gonna put the next 3 in like one bunch because I feel like they apply. Like if they kind of work together. So we have the whole princess treatment, red flags, and standards kind of thing. What these online dating gurus tell you is that women should be treated with princess treatment. Now, princess treatment is, I mean, it sort of explains itself. You know, women should be treated like princesses in a relationship. That's the whole thing. Opening the door, carrying the bags, you know, all that sort of stuff. That's what the man should do in the relationship. And then we have, these are red flags in a relationship, and these are the standards that you should have in a relationship. That's what people say online. Princess treatment is just an example of that. Guys, do you realize that every relationship is different? Every single relationship is different. The dynamics are different. How people want to be treated is different. Vastly different in every relationship, okay? So, for you to say that there are certain standards that every relationship should meet is delusional. It's delusional, and it's pushing a false narrative. Not every relationship is the same. Maybe someone doesn't want princess treatment, but then on TikTok at Healthy Dating Advice Emily said, well, he needs to give you princess treatment, otherwise he's not a man. And then she's questioning her relationship. But it turns out, actually, I don't want this, and I don't care if he gives me the princess treatment. I just want to have a happy, healthy relationship. Princess treatment is not essential to have a healthy, happy relationship. But because TikTok is saying that, and everyone is saying it, and it's being amplified on TikTok, of course she's gonna start questioning it, and then she's gonna be unhappy in her relationship because TikTok told her that her relationship is not good. Let's look at the other side of this. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for people to spread awareness about what certain standards should be in a relationship. I think it's important for people to become aware. If you're in an environment where relationships or romantic relationships are a very taboo topic, of course, it's important to become aware of that through other outlets, okay? Because you might end up in a relationship that's very toxic, very abusive, because you just don't know what the standards of a relationship are supposed to be. So in that aspect, I think it's okay to spread some awareness about what standards should be in a relationship. But when you take it to the extremes, which all social media platforms always do, because hyperboles and extreme hyperboles, you know, extreme content that is tailored to an extreme belief or extreme idea generates more views. Okay, so of course they're pushing out in the algorithm all the videos that are very extreme. So when you have some guru on TikTok telling you, well, if he's not giving you the princess treatment, then he's not a man, and you gotta end the relationship immediately and find a real man. Or if he's not rich and can't provide you and buy you a Gucci and Prada bag, then obviously it's not a good relationship, and you gotta get out of there, girl, because you deserve better. Enough. Those people are putting extreme expectations on relationships. Like the money example. The man should be the provider. He should be providing for his woman. He should be paying for his girlfriend's nails. He should always be paying for the meal. He should be buying her this and this Victoria's Secret, Prada, Gucci bullshit. I don't fucking care. And that is especially problematic because so many people on TikTok are young teenagers. And so it might reach an adult audience, but it's also reaching a teenager audience. So the teenagers are being taught, well, he has to be rich and he has to provide for me and he has to give me princess treatment and he needs to have a successful business and he needs to be a fully emotionally intelligent and fully developed and amazing man. You're telling that to teenagers. Have you seen teenagers? None of them are rich, bro. Well, okay. That's not true. But do you think that the majority of teenage relationships are gonna have a man who is a provider and is super rich and can always pay for his girlfriend's $300 nails? No. I hate to break it to y'all, but that's not realistic. So we're pushing these unrealistic expectations, not only on adults, teenagers. This brings me to my next point, which is the unhealthy comparison of relationships on TikTok. When I was still on TikTok scrolling away, I'd see these couples and I was pissed off. I was pissed. I was like, get the fuck off my fucking feed. Get out of here. I don't want to see y'all. And that's not good. It's not good because I started comparing myself to those people. Like look at them. They're in such a healthy relationship and such an amazing relationship. They're in their 20s and 30s, bro. They're in their late 20s and early 30s. Of course they have better relationships. I am 17 years old. That's a problem. Teenagers see all these happy, healthy relationships of like 30-year-olds. I'm like, you can't compare yourself. You haven't graduated high school yet. Of course you're not going to be in a good relationship. Of course not. You might get into a good relationship after college. That's it. So, for example, the other day I saw this girl who was like, I think in her like mid-20s or something, and she was like, I've been in a healthy relationship for a year and here's how to do it, and here's my guide on how to be in a healthy, happy relationship. And I was like, of course you're in a better of course, because you're in your mid-20s and all these teenagers are seeing it and saying, well, I should have been in a relationship for a year as well, so I gotta go be a relationship right now. Guys, really look at the people you're listening to. And number one, always remember everything on social media is fake. For all you know, there could be no relationship at all. She could just be saying this. And it's just not, it's not true. Guys, don't believe what you see on TikTok, okay? Don't take everything with a grain of salt. Everything you see on social media. Number two, they are most of the time much older than you. Of course they're in a better relationship. They've already finished university and all that shit. So of course they can go and focus on relationships. And number three, you don't know how many relationships they've been in before that. You don't know how many failed relationships you've had before that. So you can't compare yourself to them. This is a huge problem on social media, is comparing ourselves to others. And I'm not the first person to say that, okay? The reason why we have so many mental health issues in correlation with our social media usage. It's because we see these people and we compare ourselves to them, but most of the time it ain't even real. And they're just showing like the 1% good part of their life. Because nobody's gonna post their failed relationship on TikTok and be posting that happily. Like, no, of course they're only gonna post their one healthy relationship. Don't compare yourself to that, for the love of God. So let's recap. Online dating advice makes people believe that there is a certain way that they should be treated, and there's a certain way that they're entitled to being treated in a relationship. I'm not talking about basic respect and shit like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this these over excessive and over, like, these unrealistic standards that we have for relationships, especially when it comes to thinking that people should already know what you want. That's the big problem. That's the part of entitlement and delusion, where we believe that, well, because we're in a relationship, because we started dating, they should know now what I want. They should know. They should know. Of course, they should know. No, that's not how the world works. And the root problem of this is that we compare ourselves and our relationships, especially young teenagers, to people who are much older and their relationships. That's the root problem. That's the root issue. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is where we really see the delusion and the entitlement and the arrogance. Ooh, y'all. Some of y'all are on some crazy shit. Some of y'all... I can't believe some of the stuff I hear nowadays. What is lucky girl syndrome? Somebody explain. I will, okay? Okay, guys. Where do I even start with this? We're just gonna talk about the general advice world on TikTok. Specifically, like, advice on how to be confident and how to get what you want in life. Let's start with the whole it girl attitude.
These are things that all it girls do. If you want to be one, start doing these and you'll become an it girl overnight.
Here are my 5 tips on how to make everyone around you think that you are the it girl.
I'm a girly who's deep into psychology, so here's a few things that I do to become the literal it girl in any room that I'm in.
An it girl, according to Wikipedia, is an attractive, well-known young woman. And so on social media, they're like, here's how to be an it girl. Here's how to be that girl. Okay. I don't see anything necessarily wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with giving advice on how to be more confident, how to have a bit more confidence in yourself. That's fine, especially because we're such a generation with such high levels of low esteem and, you know, general mental health problems. Okay, that's fine. But then it turns weird, because then I start seeing videos where girls are like, nobody matters but me. Nobody matters but me. I'm the most important girl. The world rolls around me. Everything happens because of me. Everything, you know, everything revolves around me. Guys, the problem comes when all of a sudden you have a generation, or at least a group in a generation, that has no humility whatsoever. Humble is not a word in their vocabulary. Oh, the people I see sometimes. Oh my god. There's a difference. Let's make this clear. There's a difference between being confident and having no humility at all. Completely different. You can be humble and be confident. You can be humble and still be an it girl or whatever the fuck. But like this one video I saw of a woman, a straight woman at a gay club, and she like interrupted like this interview and she was like, nobody matters but me. This is the product, okay? That is the product of a woman who's on social media, where the algorithm is pushing this narrative, and these online advice gurus are pushing the narrative that you are the it girl and you have to act a certain way because you are so important. You're the most important thing in the world. You are the main character. Did you know? I'm gonna hold your hands when I say this. The world does not, in any universe, revolve around you. There are like 8 billion people on the planet. You are a little speck of dust in a sandstorm. That's what you are. That's it. So for you to act like the entire world revolves around you, and when things don't go your way, then, oh my god, it's the end of the world. Just be confident, but be humble. Be humble, okay? When I see you walking around like this, like, I'm the shit, I'm the shit, I'm the it girl, I'm the it girl, I want to punch you in the face. Can we, like, be, like, civilized people, please? Can we be, like, normal fucking people, please? Please! Why do we always go to the extremes? Always. We can never find a middle ground. You're either not confident at all, or you're the it girl and the main character and whatever the fuck. Where's the in between? Where's the, like, I'm confident in myself, but I'm humble about it? Where's that? Where are y'all? I can't find y'all. I can only find the it girls and the bitches who have no confidence at all. Where are the people in the middle ground? It's like they don't exist anymore. I'm telling you. Ever since social media has been so integrated in our lives, I cannot find people who have any sense of, like, middle ground. No sense of nuance at all. Just extremes. But it's more than the it girl attitude. It's main character syndrome. It's lucky girl syndrome. I hate the fact that these words are even coming out of my mouth right now because it sounds like bullshit, okay? Main character syndrome. The idea that you are the main character in main character in, like, a TV series, and you should act according to that because the main character is the most important character in the story. Okay. There's some truth in that statement. Technically, you are the main character in your own story. But then, of course, here come the people who think that that means they are the main character of the entire world. Guys, what has become of us? What has driven you? Driven you? Drove you? What has drove you? Driven? You know what I mean? What has driven you to be so delusional? It is pure delusion. You are not the main character of the world. You are the main character of your own story. And living that way can be very fun. But when you're out and about in the world, nobody cares. Because you are not the main character in their story. And for you to act like that's the case. Like, this is a very mild example. But when people, like, record themselves or something, like when they do, like, a fit check, an outfit check, like, in the street, and someone, like, walks in front of the camera and they're like, how dare they? Don't they know that I'm the main character? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You are not the main character. You are not. Nobody is, actually. Nobody is the main character. You might be in your own story, but be a civilized person and notice that just because you are recording on the street, that does not mean that everyone's gonna be like, we must not walk in front of her camera because she is so important. That's not what's gonna happen. And if you think that, you're crazy. You're crazy and you're delusional. That's the thing. And TikTok and Instagram has made you that way, and I'm sorry to say. Maybe it's time to get off that fucking phone. Put the brick down. Put it down. Now, I actually have a theory about why there's so many occurrences of this, like, sense of entitlement and just general delusion and arrogance, okay? I think that because we are a generation that, according to a study that I found on wokewaves.com, says that there was a multi-year study released in 2023 that shows that nearly 65% of Gen Z has at least one mental health problem in the past 2 years, and that we have extremely high rates of anxiety and depression, or that we also have high rates of anxiety and negative self-image and lack of confidence. I think that because we're a generation that has such high rates of these mental health problems, that we resort to these absolute extremes where we decide to have no humility at all because we're so scared of this low self-esteem and this self-consciousness that we look for extreme solutions. I think it's actually sort of ironic that we are one of the generations with the lowest self-esteem and highest rates of social anxiety and self-consciousness, and simultaneously we are also a generation that has the craziest, most extremes extreme versions of confidence that ultimately is just a lack of humility. I think that's pretty interesting. That's my hypothesis as to why we resort to these extremes of the it girl attitude and the main character syndrome and the lucky girl syndrome and all that stuff. It's because, according to science, we have such low levels of self-confidence. So social media is like, hey, I know what to do about that. That's just my theory about that. Let's address lucky girl syndrome, because this by far is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Main character syndrome and it girl attitude I can get behind because I understand aspects of it. Lucky girl syndrome, a lot less. It's sort of a manifestation technique. So you say that you are the luckiest girl in the world, and so everything will go like your way and everything good will happen to you. That's the idea. There was even a song. I think there was a song. So the lyrics are, I'm a lucky, like this is at least the part I saw on TikTok. I'm a lucky girl and all good things come to me, flow to me, move through me, everything works out for me. No taking control of me, blah, 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 blah. That's the whole thing. Guys, sometimes, in case you haven't learned already, you're not gonna get what you want. Sometimes you won't get everything you want. And if you haven't learned that yet, that lesson is gonna hit you hard, okay? A manifestation is something, like, this whole lucky girl syndrome thing is part of a bigger thing on TikTok about, and social media in general, about manifestation. I have a mixed relationship with manifestation because I think that people tend to confuse affirmations and manifestations a lot. I believe in affirmations. I believe that if you speak to yourself in a certain way, your mindset can be shifted. And for example, you'll feel more confident about yourself and you'll have a more positive mindset towards the world if you speak to yourself in a different way. I believe in that. What I don't believe in is bending nature to your will. Okay. This is a shout out to Mikey Posada, by the way. He explained in one of his videos that nature, so, you know, nature in a much like bigger aspect, like the world and the universe, has its own rhythm, its own plan. However much manifesting you do, you cannot bend that plan. You cannot bend nature to your will, and you cannot bend reality to be what it is that you want to be. For example, you like someone, and you want them to be obsessed with you, so you start manifesting. He's obsessed with me, blah, blah, blah. He thinks about me all the time. That is not how it works at all. That is not how it works. Someone either likes you or they don't. And if you think that they like you, if they do end up liking you, and you're like, oh my god, it's because of my manifestation. No. It's because they had feelings for you in the first place. Even if, let's even say that the manifestation worked, and that person now has feelings for you. It's not real. It's not real. Because, let's think about it, theoretically, you manipulated them in some way for them to have feelings for you. It's not real. So even if the manifestation would worked, do you want it to work? At what cost, you know? I'm sorry, but no matter how much manifesting you do, you cannot force someone to like you. You cannot force a person to give you a promotion at a job. You cannot force things to go a certain way. You cannot force the plan and rhythm of nature. Things are going to happen that are meant to happen to you. If you did manifest something and it did happen to you, that's because it was meant to happen in the first place. Okay, I used to manifest, and I used to think that the results that I got afterwards, let's say for example, I manifest that I get a job promotion, and then I do get the job promotion. It's not because I manifested, it's because I had good qualifications, I did good at the job interview, and I was the best fit for the position. That's why you got the promotion. Not because you manifested it. You might have done affirmations beforehand that made you more confident and articulate during the interview, but that's it. You cannot, no matter how much manifesting you do, you can't control other people's actions. So no, you're not a lucky girl, and not everything is gonna go your way, and that's just how the world is. It doesn't matter if you claim that you're a lucky girl and this and this and this. The point is, if you work hard and work smart, things will go your way. Or, you know, sometimes they might not go your way, but it doesn't matter because then it wasn't meant to happen. That's just how it is. So I don't care how much manifesting you say you do. At the end of the day, the universe has a certain plan, and I'm sorry, but there's nothing you can do to bend or to influence that plan. You can make yourself a more confident person by doing affirmations. You can make yourself, you can just make yourself have a more positive mindset, but you can't control the way that things go or how certain people feel about you by manifesting. You can control those things by, for example, the job example, by having a good application, by having done internships, for example, or when it comes to relationship, by being platonic and romantic relationships, by just being a kind person. That affects how people see you. Not because you manifested it. It's a different thing. If I had to say, I'm sorry, this might be controversial to say. I don't think there's such a thing as manifestation, but I believe in affirmations. And I think a lot of time people just mix those two up. And that's the big problem. Because then you have this sense of entitlement because I'm claimed that I'm a lucky girl, so obviously things are gonna go my way. And then when things don't go your way, you're disappointed. And you're sad. And you're upset. And you don't know how to deal with it because you're supposed to be a lucky girl and everything is supposed to go your way. But you're not. Because things don't always go your way. Even if you work hard, even if you work smart, even if you're a kind and good person, sometimes things aren't meant to go your way. And if you resort to this lucky girl syndrome shit, and you can't accept the fact that sometimes things don't go your way, you'll never be happy. You'll always have this sense of entitlement that things are supposed to go your way because you are a lucky girl and you deserve and all things go your way and all things come to you, blah, 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 blah. It's entitlement. It's pure entitlement. It is glorified entitlement. You're taking entitlement and you're packaging it in a nice little box with a bow. That's what it is. That's what lucky girl syndrome is. That's what this whole idea of manifestation and lucky girl syndrome and main character syndrome, that's what it all is. It is entitlement. And delusion. Sprinkle a bit of delusion in there as well. Now, just like as a sort of end disclaimer, I am not saying that there's anything wrong with promoting confidence and those sort of things and promoting certain standards for relationships. But when you start to really take those to heart, for example, the whole lucky girl thing, like, bro, take a shot every time I said lucky girl. I'm losing my mind. Okay, if you really take those to heart and if you instill in your mind that this is reality and this is how things are supposed to be, and then reality is a different thing and you can't accept that reality and you become disappointed and upset because of that actual reality, that's where the problem lies. When you cannot differentiate reality from this delusional online bullshit. This is reality, and then social media delusions are somewhere over there, but they're not even in this room, okay? They're not even in this room. Far, far, far away. That's the problem. That's the problem. And you know why that's caused? Because social media amplifies everything. Every bad thing is just amplified by social media. And that's why I deleted social media personally. And I encourage all of y'all to delete social media as well. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you liked my analysis. I'm very happy to be back. And if you enjoy these sort of videos, I'm going to be making more videos like this, sort of like internet and social media analysis, sort of a little bit psychology in there as well, you know. But in general, just certain things I see on the internet and social media and analysis of that. If you enjoy those kind of videos, like and subscribe to see more content like that. I'm very happy to be back. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.